and welcome back to Sticks and Strings. I'm Naomi.
I'm Beth.
I'm Eve.
And we are back. It will be August 8th when you see this. And we're just here. We got all our crafts. I'm actually prepared today, but Eve's going to go first.
Yeah, I'm going to go first because for a reason I'll describe later,
She'll be drawing.
I'll be drawing instead of doing any other of the crafts that I do. First, I want to say I've been working on my cross-stitch camp piece. It's Just Nan's
Wait.
Is it?
crystal. What?
Wait, before you start, I'm going to say this. Up front. If you haven't subscribed to us, subscribe. Because we have some special announcements coming.
Yeah.
And in about a week and a half, we're going to make a special announcement, and you're going to want to know that, and you're going to want to put on your notifications.
And we're going to have a couple of extra videos about it.
Yeah, some extra stuff coming. Very special project to our hearts. So we're not going to tell you about it now because we don't want to spoil the surprise. But make sure you're subscribed and you put on your notifications.
Yeah.
So that's just up front.
Yeah. This is
Sorry.
Crystal Snow Lady Mouse. And
Crystal Snow Lady Mouse? Is it a crystal or a snow or a lady or a mouse? Is a lady mouse in the crystal snow?
It's tiny.
It's very small. This is on 32 count Murano Crochet. I don't know. Yeah. I guess that's how you say it. In pink splash, and it has white stitching just like all the way around, which I was struggling to put in because the fabric is not white, but it is very close to white, and my old eyes were complaining. And then
so that's going to be what eventually
a mouse.
Like a stand up.
It's a little stand up mouse.
Well, they show it stuck on top of a little box, but I don't know what I'm going to do with it.
Yeah, I have one unfinished, of course. I mean, I finished stitching it, but it's like not FFO.
Not fully finished.
But yeah,
like everything else in your life.
It actually it's a little hedgehog.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, I remember you stitching.
Yeah. That.
Sweaty cups on your paper. That's just an effect.
That
it's
paper.
an effect. It's a design. It's a design element.
I'm not. It's not like I'm selling this. I'm just drawing. I could have maybe eventually.
It's a design element.
It'll dry. So the other thing I have here is the Tiny Modernist Sal When Witches Go Riding. So I'm still working on July's thing. I have this whole left side.
Is that when it started? Was July?
July 1st. And by July 30th, I really was like here. I've done a lot. I'm catching up.
And it goes all the way across the design.
It does. And I have the other. I've showed pictures of what the pattern looks like before, but
so you got the August
I got the August one, but I haven't even printed it out because I don't want to overwhelm myself.
Right, take a bite, take a small bite. That's
so,
fine.
But I am slowly but surely catching up on that.
That's good.
And then
no stress. I didn't call the police on you or anything because you weren't done with that clue.
Last week, I showed the Spock's bag, and I wasn't. It's sad.
I thought you said the Spock's bag, like
Spock.
First Officer
Spock.
I was like, we have a Spock bag?
I wish. They had that Star Wars and that Star Trek fabric that we saw yesterday.
Yeah, but it wasn't Spock fabric.
Well, I finished the Notions pouch. This isn't on the website, on the Etsy side. I keep saying website. And, if I can arrange my days where I waste less time, perhaps I can actually get the website done since I'm paid for everything. But we have, one of the reasons why it's not up yet is that we have decided to rearrange kind of how we're selling things on Etsy. Fabric is costing us a lot more, and just easier to find things. Anyway, we decided to just go ahead and and sell these together
It's a set.
as a set.
That's nice.
And all of them will be as a set. Any that we still have both of them for, and then when when these go up for renewal on their the individual ones that are still there, they'll be marked down.
Yeah. So if there's like some that don't have a matching bag.
Yeah, so if you've purchased one of the bags and you want the matching notions pouch and you haven't purchased it yet and it's still there, be watching for that to go down. Now I might not wait until it renews. Because I have to take it off and I've wasted the money for putting it up there. But I might go ahead and put them all down.
Mark them down.
Mark them down. Yeah.
On sale.
Yeah. So
did you show the little charm on it?
the charm on this, I showed it
Is that
last
leaf?
week. I think it's a leaf, and
Cute.
and so this will be up. So my dog started barking. She doesn't like anybody driving on the street behind us.
She doesn't like anyone existing outside this house. No
So-
existence is allowed.
So I finished this bag. It's owls
So
and
cute.
the matching notions
pouch.
pouch, and it has a little owl charm.
There's bears and squirrels. And
I've taken pictures of these and we'll attach them
That's
at the
nice.
end. And this
what?
it's hurting my hand.
Oh.
And so then I am working on, they're cut out and, I'm started. This one's almost done. This is little tents and it's got cars and campers and it's very
nice.
cute. But it's raining on them.
That's what happens when you go.
And this one, oh God, I just love it. It's just
Forest
Oh.
animal.
yeah, little forest animals, and
Saguaros.
they're dressed in Indian, Native American stuff, and they're living in a little teepee.
Is that a raccoon? Or?
Yeah, it's a
Yeah.
raccoon, and there's a little
You can see it
bird.
better probably on the back.
See the
huh?
bird?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Little
I'll
fox.
take a close up.
It's like very southwesty.
Yeah. Anyway, I love this fabric. It's so cute. So those aren't done yet, and it may be a little bit before I can get those done, and I'll explain later. But the other two will go up probably today. So, and then, I had showed this quilt square before. And I have done the other colorway, this one, and it's going to have the little, however that's going to go, the little snowballs on the side too. And I took some pictures
Of what?
of what it's going to look like. I laid these on top, and so you can kind of see.
So we'll post those here. So you
Yeah,
can see how
and then
she's
there'll be some project bags that'll have these squares, and I'm still going back for, do I want to do it this way, do I want to do it that way, but I'm kind of excited about just a little. I had some quilted project bags. Sorry, I'm seeing a thread and I hate threads. I had some quilted project bags, most of which I think there's one left up there. But I like doing different things, not all the same thing all the time. So while some of them may be just a one of a kind kind of thing, that style or whatever, I like doing different, and the project bags over here, there will be making that kind. Beth and I had, when we were first deciding to make project bags and do an Etsy shop and stuff, Beth and I had a long discussion about what would be ideal, what size would be ideal, things like, the zipper and the length and the width, so you can fit an 11-inch Q-snap inside. You can fit 8.5 by 11 pattern, even the hard cardboard ones slide right in with plenty of room to spare. You can put more than one project. Like if you have a project bag that's, I have my littler project bags here. I can put this inside one of those. And so if I have more than one, you can put more than one. Beth has one of the project bags I made her and stuff like this with stuff in it. So we had a long discussion about what we'd want. And if I hit on one that I think is really, really fun and that I can make more often like those, we'll be doing that.
As a knitter, I'm in love with this bag. I'm going to start using it.
I have that one. That one's
but
also going to go on the Etsy
really,
site. I just
really
needed
like
to
that.
discuss something with you on it before I did.
Okay.
That is all of mine except my story. And I am going to be drawing today. I am going to attempt to draw this turtle.
Sea turtle.
Cute.
But I am going to draw it in white on black.
Cool.
And so we'll see.
You want me to go next?
Yeah, I'm going.
Okay, I'll go next. All right, I have an important announcement. I'm going to put this down for a second. So I finished this last week, but I added a little button. You can see that button. I'll take a close-up picture.
It is
But
so cute.
I added a button. It's a flower button that my son found because he is a great shopper, and he found this cute little purple flower button, and I made an I-cord, a little I-cord loop, and attached it. I-cord stands for idiot cord, by the way, because the lady who figured it out was like, "This is so easy. Why didn't I do it before?" And so it's a special technique of just making a little cord. So it took me a while to make the right diameter of I-cord because I always learned to make it with 4 stitches, and instead I wanted it smaller to match the gauge of the sweater. So I made it with 3, and it worked out perfectly with 3 stitches around. And so I'll put a close up of that. But so this is done. And I had extra yarn. I showed you the hat in progress last time, but so cute. And because I'm a genius and a mother, look what I did. Well, I'm not a genius. I saw this somewhere else. But I attached the pom-poms with a button. I'll also put a close-up of this. I put the thread through the corner of the hat and then through the button and tied it in a surgeon's knot so that it won't slip out, and then a bow on top. Because up there, it's not going to get messed up with her hair because it's in this little corner. And then I thought, so if Mom needs to launder this hat, she can just untie that little string, pull those buttons out, and wash the hat. And then, because I don't think these will go through the wash very well. I would worry about them. So you can take them off. So,
Okay, can I interrupt?
Yeah.
What is that?
Let me see. Is it one of the slippers?
It looks like someone going like this. But I think I would just leave it off.
Yeah,
It's something behind the turtle. It's either, I don't think it's his flipper.
It looks like part of him, but I don't know.
I
We'll
Sorry,
insert a picture so
I'm
you can see
talking
what we're
about- I'm talking about a little
I would just
lump
leave it
right
off.
here. I'm
'cause
like,
it
what
looks
does he
weird.
have, a mole?
No.
But there's like a big shadow there, so I don't know. Sorry.
That's okay. So the pattern to this, I don't know if I talked about it, but I'll talk about it now that it's done. This was a pattern from Knit Stars 5, Knit Stars Season 5. This is a small version of the adult sweater that was in the class that we got for free with the class. I think you can now buy it. The designer's name is Osa. She goes by Osa Tricosa but it's A with a little circle above it. S.A. is her first name, but her name is Osa Soderman. She's from Copenhagen is where she's living right now. So anyway, she was the designer. It's called the Ziggurat Method. She has a book with ziggurat sweaters. So we got a free pattern, and included with the free pattern for the adult size sweater was this little 4-year-old sweater. And I decided to make it because I have that yarn. It's been a year, almost a year now. I have that yarn sitting there. Don't tell my husband. And because I ordered more yarn for season 6. But I have that season 5 yarn for my size sweater. But I didn't want to waste it. And I wanted to make sure I knew exactly how to do this sweater style. So that's what this is. And I will put up a link in the bottom because this is a really cool little method. So that's that for the little girl. Now, little girl has an older brother.
Oh my God, that sweater is so cute.
Look at it. This is the Gramps pattern. Gramps by Tin Can Knits. It has a really ingenious shawl collar, which is just an extension of this button band. And you do short rows to make the size. That's it. But then when you bind off, you actually do some decreasing here, which pulls it nicely around the neck. It's ingenious, because I was worried about that. I thought it would flare, but no, it's just right. And then the contrast is it's olive green, right? With the contrast is a gray, and I think it's just perfect. I think it's really subtle and very sophisticated, as Oliver seems to be. And then I found these old-fashioned, they look like leather, they're not leather, but they look like leather buttons. And I just am so excited. Oh yeah, and it's got elbow patches. I am so in love with this. And I thought, and this pattern is like, you can do a 3-month-old size all the way to adult. And I thought, I should make my dad one of these.
Oh yeah.
I should make him one of these. It was so easy. But my son's in there going, not till you finish my sweater, Mom. But yeah, I like this pattern. It was easy. And I learned something, children. I'm going to tell you a story. The biggest favor I did to myself with this sweater is that after every section that I finished, I wove in the ends right then. So when I finished the body and I put on the ribbing at the bottom, I wove in the ends. If I had, and right then, if I had to change yarns anywhere, I wove it in. And when I picked up the sleeve and I finished the sleeve, I went up, I fixed the armhole, I wove in this green end, I wove in the gray end. So when I actually got done, I only had, this, so then I had to do the pockets. So I finished one whole pocket, sewed it down, wove in the ends. Finished the other pocket, sewed it down, wove in the ends. And so I didn't have a sweater ready to have buttons and then 1,000 ends to weave in. So I just did it right away. It's like cleaning your kitchen at night, You just and your future self will thank you. And I'm really happy that I did that, because as I finished parts of it, so I sewed on the elbow patches and sewed in the ends. So it really gave me a sense of accomplishment, because everything was finished. Everything that I finished was finished. And so I could go on to the next section and not feel weird about it. So I really am proud of that. So here you go. Oliver green sweater. I'm so excited. So both of these need to be blocked. Now I've been reading a lot about blocking acrylic, because these are both made out of acrylic. And I think I'm going to do it with steam, which will melt it just a little bit in order to let it relax. With wool, when you wet it and you block it flat on a surface, it kind of will then hold that shape. Acrylic doesn't care that you wet it, so you have to kind of do something else to get it to really, like in this sweater, the bottom ribbing, you can even see it wants to flip up. So if I put a little heat and steam, not right on it, but just above it, it will relax that, kind of melt it into its shape, and it'll stay there. So some people do what they call killing acrylic, which is where they actually put the iron on there, and it makes a sort of flat, melted, shiny fabric, which I don't think I like. So I'm just going to steam it, and hopefully it'll then hold its shape real well. So that's my finishes. And I am currently working on Rachel's shawl. But, and I'm wearing representative, this is the Sharon show, Mystery Knit Along from last year, starring Sharon from Security. It was August 6th of last year that we started it. August
7.
for 6 weeks. It was like August 15th or something. So this was the shirt from last year. This year they're selling details. They're so cute. But I wanted to bring this back just to remind you how gorgeous this is going to be. Pretty
That's so
tonal
beautiful.
blue. My pretty variegated. My pretty tonal magenta. And then this I've chosen for the background. I think I mentioned that last time. This tonal gray. So look at that. Read 'em and weep, children. Isn't that pretty? And this bag is going to be, I don't know if it'll fit once I start knitting it. It should. But this is going to be my bag, and Eve made this bag, and she's making it, maybe she can give me a hard thing to go in the bottom of this one. Because now the ones she's making, they're going to have a little cardboard down here. But look at that. Is that not a perfect knitting bag? Love it. So that's happening. And then last week, we went on our field trip to the attic. And I made all my thread drops. Aren't they pretty? Aren't they pretty? And I bought fabric. I shopped Beth's fabric.
My fabric stash.
From Beth's fabric stash. This is, what did we decide finally? It's even weave?
Let me see. Linen. Irish linen.
Irish linen. So I've never used this before. And that's for this nice pattern, the Winter's Past.
And this is from Milady's
Needle. Yeah. So I got that all ready to go. I don't know when I'm going to start it. You know what I thought? I think I'll start it on my anniversary.
Yeah, oh yeah.
On the 22nd. It'll be 29 years.
Oh, yeah.
So,
I plan to start until all good night on my birthday.
yeah, so this will be my anniversary start. I don't know how long it'll take me. It'll take me forever. But so that's me. I'm so happy I have those sweaters done. I cannot tell you. It's like I feel good. Because even though I still have Rachel's shawl and her owl cowl that are my two sort of priority whips, and Eli's sweater, which I promise I'll have done by the time it gets cold, which should be, next January. But I'm glad to have those out of the way so that when the mystery knit along starts, I can because the clues don't take a whole week. You get it once a week, right? So I can work on that, and then I can work on this shawl. I know Rachel really likes this shawl, and so I'm gonna finish this first before I go back to the owl cowl, because that owl cowl takes me like I have to focus like this on that chart, and it's really high. I can't even watch a movie while I do that. It's so intense. So maybe I'll save that for like over Christmas or something like that. Anyway, so there's that. That's me.
I have been working on my August
Coaster stuck to my drink. Sorry.
cross stitch camp project. Rabbit by Ink Circles.
Are you done?
Almost. I just have this little bit right here.
She'll be done before we finish.
Yeah, she'll probably finish while we're on
yeah,
camera.
I'm hoping. Yeah, I was actually I was working on it last night, and I was thinking, oh, I can finish this tonight, and I was like, too tired. I kept falling asleep, and I'd wake up, and my needle would be,
How do you like those silks?
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to talk about that. So these they're monthly things, and actually the July, August, and September patterns are available. I saw them on One Tweak Each Stitch. So, and I'm assuming that because there's going to be Needlework Expo, a virtual expo on August 28th. So I'm assuming the last 3 months, October, November, December, will be available then. But the July, August, and September charts are out now, and I have the ones through June. But they're small. They're like 57 by 57, and they are the models are stitched one thread over two. one ply of silk, Gloriana silk, over 2 threads of linen, and they're done on 36. I'm doing it on 32, but they're done in Gloriana silks. But also, if you go, there's the website. It's listed back here, or the inkcircles.com website, and you can go to the rabbit section font page, and there is a border if you want to do all the designs in one. There's like a big border you can separate, each month, or you can do also a monthly, a single border, so you could do one around each month or whatever. Anyway, but like I said, they are charted in Gloriana silks, and they have also on the website this list of all the.
Carry on.
I just put my foot on it because I don't want the dog to get it.
Yeah, she'll chew it up.
It's right there.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Pardon me.
But so this list has all the silks, but it also has DMC and Weeks Dye Works if you want to do a conversion and not use silks. And that was what I was going to do originally, and then I decided to do the silks after all. And so so I bought, like I said last week, I talked about that I bought several of the silks. There were a few that they didn't have, and one that I think I because I didn't know anything about silks until I watched a tutorial thing on Sunday, August 1st, when this started. And I think, and I went online. I also looked at the Gloriana site, I guess, and they have different types of silk that have different ply numbers or whatever. So I think one of them I bought the wrong size or whatever. I have to look again at what I bought. Anyway, this pattern just has 2 colors, so I thought I would get my feet wet with silks. And one thing that I did not heed at first, and found out sort of like, to my regret, that I didn't cut shorter lengths. These are shorter lengths. I had them long, kind of like those that you showed.
Like this?
Yeah. Because typically I'll take like my Weeks Dye Works threads. I'll like cut them in half and cut them in half again, and so they end up fairly long. And with the Glorianas, the thing is that they are 12 ply rather than 6, and so anyway, I had cut them in half, and because I wasn't sure at first if I was going to do 2 over 2 was my original plan, but then I was reading the thing, and they used 1 over 2, and I did a few stitches with 2 threads, and I did a few stitches with 1, and I decided to do 1, but I did not cut the thread in half again. So I had kind of a long length, and even though I sort of doubled it over, the thread would get a little fuzzy, and also I wasn't always very strict with using lotion or something on my hands. So if I had my sandpapery, scratchy hands would sometimes catch the thread, and yeah.
Yeah, because I read when I learned how to make these, she didn't help me. But I
don't use thread drops usually.
She said use thread drops, and then she's left her to it.
So I watched the thing, and she said if you're going to use 2 plies, make them this length because you fold them in half. So so this is actually the length of the thread you would, because you pull it out and it's folded in half. But if you were going to do 1 ply, you would do it 1 more time so that your single is actually shorter.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, and one other thing, I was in one of the I think it was Stitcherista because I was just looking like on how do you use silk thread, whatever. So she had a tutorial that I watched part of, and at the beginning of it, one of the things she said was to use a new needle. I'm assuming because older needle, if you use a needle, a few times, you're more likely to get like a burr or something like that. And I think that, because I did not do that, I didn't use a new needle.
So you did everything wrong.
my needle, like where the thread goes through the needle, tends to get a little fuzzy or whatever. Or it did with the white more than with this acorns color. But it could have been again because I was using a longer length of thread. And so, and I have my ceiling fan on in my room, and so the thread tends to float, yeah. And what was really kind of aggravating is like sometimes it would like blow across my face.
Ooh.
and tickle me. It's like, oh, I can't stand
So
it.
is it very different working with it?
No, it's not really different, but I just had, like I said, I had to use lotion and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And so one of the things that I typically use is what I have fallen in love with is this gloves in a bottle.
That's great stuff.
I bought this at Tempe Yarn and Fiber, and I just recently bought this bottle. Is like
bigger,
almost out.
Oh yeah.
So I bought another bottle last time I was there. There's also this Stitcher's lotion they carry at the attic, and I've seen larger bottles of this too, but this one I bought at the attic some time ago. Raspberry and orange flavor scent.
What I like about the gloves in the bottle is that it's
not greasy at all.
It completely goes away, but your
Yeah.
hands feel better.
Yeah.
Oh.
Now you're gonna smell it forever. But this one, now I haven't noticed any scent because I
no, it doesn't.
It
doesn't really have a scent, which is nice.
Yeah.
Because I don't want my.
I like the fact that it doesn't have a scent.
Yeah.
What?
I like the
Yeah,
fact
me
that
too. Because especially like you're knitting a little sweater or this, I don't want it to smell like that.
Well, and I can be really sensitive too.
Yeah.
I know everything else is sensitive.
But anyway, it's a little expensive, but it works really, really well.
They also sell it at CVS.
Yeah.
Not that you shouldn't.
They do, but I have a bottle of Lubriderm as well. I'm allergic to a lot of things, so I use very specific lotions, and I have a bottle of Lubriderm where I stitch, and I also have some of that gloves in the bottle that I carry around with me in different places. And the other day, I looked at the coffee table where the Lubriderm is, and I was like, why is my Lubriderm on the other side of the table? Robert had been using it. Robert said, that stuff is fantastic. I said, have you been using my lotion? He goes, yeah, it's fantastic on my tattoo. Made it heal really well. I'm like, do you know how expensive it is?
But so I've been using this a little more religiously because of
because
of my snaggy hands and the silk. So when I did the brown, when I started the brown, I did cut it shorter lengths. So it's been working really well, and I'm almost done. I'm on this last ear, and then I have just the top of the rabbit's head. But this is what it looks like. Rabbit.
But it, like so many things, will be in her stitched box and not FFO.
Yeah. So,
you should. So what you should challenge yourself with now is to try to FFO one thing a week.
Yeah, because I have and it really typically won't take me very long with what I have, because I have a few things in mind. How I'm going to finish various things that in my to be FFO'd pile over there. But yeah, I just
I've told her I'd stitch it for her. I mean the
Yeah.
sewing.
Yeah.
But
or
so-
I could set up my foff and she could sew it.
Somebody needs to learn to sew.
so anyway.
Like those
So-
designers in those designer competitions that I don't know how to sew.
But so yeah, so I should finish this like, by the time we finish stitching, or at least today at the very latest. But then so the other thing I did was that we went to I don't know if I want to talk about what's coming up with cross stitch camp, or because
I was just thinking that Naomi should join the Cross Stitch Camp Facebook group, because the September project is to create to start
I thought it
yeah,
was only
because
in the summer.
it is.
It is.
But in September, because she was talking about how a lot of people, kind of want to keep it going, basically. And so she was, some people do, as part of their September stitching, one of the things that's typically done is Sampler September. But a lot of people...
Is that what this is? Is this
No.
considered a sampler? No.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
that is. I could be, yeah.
But also,
But some-
it's a wow piece.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What
It's a
she was
wild
saying
piece.
what she was saying is that not everybody does samplers.
Yeah.
And I typically have not done samplers. Where you have like an alphabet and the numbers and a saying and whatever, right? So typically some people don't necessarily do samplers. So what she was talking about is instead doing what she calls showcase September.
Ah.
So anything that you would consider a showcase, like a big piece or a fancy piece or a showstopper. That's what it is. Showstopper. Sorry. And so I was thinking about that, and I have a couple of things in mind. So let me put this upside, because
But I felt like Naomi's cross stitch piece there is, I mean, theoretically not started until until September, but I think starting on your anniversary is what you should
Yeah.
do. But that's the kind of piece that you would do that for, because she said if it takes you 2 years, it takes you 2 years, but it's your showstopper piece. Something you're going to hang up, with your wedding sound thing that Beth made you.
La última will be.
So I was thinking about two different pieces that I'm going to choose between as showstoppers, and because I probably have a million, charts, but and there's probably more than one that would qualify, and that I would be willing to work on, whatever. But one of them is this owl forest kit that I bought recently. Now I've been working on the elephant pug was one I was working on last week while I was waiting for the August cross stitch camp project. But this one is larger. I don't know if I had 189 by 111. I believe is the size. Yeah, 189 by 111. So it's kind of large. It only has 7 colors. But the kit has 32 count linen, the floss, the needle, the chart, and it has a needle winder.
Fun.
Yeah, it has a little somewhere in here. There's the needle winder.
There it is.
Here it is. Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's cool. And a needle.
Yeah.
It's a little button. It's got like a ship on it.
Yeah.
That's neat.
So yeah. So I was thinking about that. This whale with a village on his back. But also, I have this. I saw this. Somebody. I mean, it was very popular for a while. Everybody was stitching it, and somebody had worked on it, and I thought, oh yeah, I want to buy it. I want that. So I bought it, and I have
That's
promptly put it
beautiful.
away and didn't do anything with it.
What's
So
it
this
say?
is
And Heaven and Nature
and Heaven and
Sing?
Nature Sing is the name of the pattern.
That's gorgeous.
It's beautiful. This
Let me
deer
see.
is really large.
Yeah,
It's
that'll
like
be
that
the Santa
giant,
of
that
of
giant
of
snowman. That
2021.
yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah. It's a Kathy Berg design, and it's. I
it's
thought that
so
deer is so beautiful.
And he's got little birds in his antlers. Oh my god.
And there's trees, and so yeah. I was thinking about that one as well. Yeah.
That is so nice.
The only problem is I have to kit it up because I don't have it. I haven't chose a fabric.
Yeah,
and
but still.
yeah,
So,
but it's so.
you
it's
have well,
so-
you're
that
finished,
doesn't take that long,
you're
and you
finished
have the
with your
rest of August to do
You're
it.
finished with your August project, and it's the 7th. So
Yeah.
I think you have time.
So
to,
yeah, so
to kit that up
it's
before
186 by 153,
That is so cool.
and I think it's
I vote for that.
yeah.
If I have a
This
vote.
one has NPS needlepoint silks, or there's also a DMC conversion.
You'll probably
listed
use some
here.
of the silks that you have.
So yeah, this is just
That's
I've been wanting to do this, ever since I bought it. I just haven't taken the time because I'm always stitching stuff for other things. So yeah,
That's
So,
so pretty. I
Are
would
we
choose that.
up to the
Is it story time?
story time?
Yeah, I think so. Are you done?
yeah, I think so. I was just going to talk about haul and stuff like that. So
So
that falls under the
the
category
reason
of
I am
stories.
the reason I am drawing, and the reason I don't know when I can finish sewing that is that I was putting snaps on those notions pouches, and my dog does not like when I do that, and she recognizes when I'm getting ready to do that, and I usually
It involves a little hammer.
it involves a big hammer, a regular hammer, and it's just a thwack. She doesn't like certain sounds, and
She doesn't like zippers. She doesn't like Velcro. She doesn't like doorbells.
so
Poor little dog.
so
The world
she
is
wanted
so
to.
loud.
She saw me getting ready, and she wanted to go into my dad's room, but it was late. It was like 11 or so, and I didn't want her to wake up my dad. So I said, "Get over here," and she kept trying to tell me she was not happy with me. I hadn't banged anything yet, or maybe I had once or whatever, but there's this little metal thing that you hold on to above the snap, so that you can center it and not actually smash the snap. And I had that there, and I went to do the bang, and the dog barked right as I was about to do that to say, "No, I'm still not, I'm here still." And she barked, and my hand jerked, and I hammered my thumb. And while it's not,
Was it big and red and throbbing like that in the cartoons?
it felt like that. It did not look like that. And it's a little more purple than it was last night, but it hurts a lot more than it did last night. And
And so do I.
yeah, and so I was talking to them about
I took
how
the
much-
Band-Aid off because I can't stand it. but-
how much we injure ourselves for our crafts. Like when I burnt my hand, and
Yeah.
and-
One time I had an orchestra rehearsal, and I was doing something. Was it quilting or sewing one of Hannah's dresses? I don't know what I was doing, but okay, pretend this is the iron, all right? And I walked up to it, and I went like this. Oh, my iPad fell down. Beth, that's
Yeah, I
good.
know.
she thought it was your soda.
I touched it like that, I just went, and I burnt my fingers the day I had orchestra rehearsal. I had to email my director and say, I grabbed an iron. It was
How
fun.
about when you fell into the orchestra pit?
Oh yeah.
You know,
That's a bit much getting injured for your craft. Yeah, I was in college and I was orchestra manager for that. It was an opera. And this is in Boston in this old theater, and I probably could have sued them, and if I had damaged any instruments, I would have had to, because it was not safe. We were not safe in that pit. So, you know, in an opera, the orchestra sits in what they call the pit. It's a lowered area, so the conductor can see over the edge of the stage and to see the opera singers, and we can see him, and he conducts us and the opera singers at the same time. But this old pit, usually some of them raise up and down, but this one they had built a platform because it was so deep, I guess. And the conductor was on the platform in the pit, and there were, I think, strings and a couple of winds, and I was playing bassoon. I was in the back corner, so the stage was like round like that, and then the like the wall of the pit was also round in a sort of wider, little bit of a wider circumference. So I was, and then the platform was straight, like a half moon.
Or?
Yeah, it was NEC, but it wasn't an NEC facility. It was a city house, opera house somewhere. I don't even know which one. I'm sure my friends remember, but my brain I don't remember things. So there was like a half moon platform built into the front of the pit. And I was in the very little corner like this, so I could see the director straight ahead of me. He was facing that way. Well, so up there with me was strings and I think a couple flute players, and there were some strings in the bottom. That's right. So there were strings and stuff in the bottom. We were stuffed in there, and that platform had no railing. It had no railing on the edge. It had no railing on the steps. It was just raw steps. And the platform was so high that when you went to go down the steps, you had to bend over in half to get down the steps. Not safe. And
OSHA would have a field
yes,
day.
and so then down there was like circles of strings like this, and then behind, so we could get out one door this way, and this way the strings were there, and then there was a ring of timpani, and the timpani player had his own door basically, so he could come in and out. So I was orchestra manager, and there were 2 intermissions, and the first intermission I was, and that means I'm responsible for getting everybody back in after break, and after the intermission to get everybody back in. And we were in a performance, and I was, during the first intermission, I was talking to some friends that had come down to the wall, so I was kind of standing where the conductor stands, and I was talking to them, and the light started flashing. There's a little light bulb under the pit that flashes when it's like, time to get ready. So I was like, I gotta go. I will get everybody from back behind the pit where they're resting. So I went, and I had to bend in half and go down the stairs, and in the process I stepped, like, here's the first step and here's the edge of the platform, and I stepped right here, and I fell from the platform down. I don't know what, I think my legs hit the wood of the stairs. I still have a dent in my shin from that. And as I'm flying, I grab a chair, which had a flute in it.
Oh my God.
In the case, thank God. And I fell with the chair. And as I fell down, there was a ring of stands. I flattened the stands like that against the chairs.
You're lucky you weren't seriously
injured. Which had
injured.
no violins in it. Thank God. That's what I was worried about. I'm like, I'm going to break. Now, my horn was up in the corner, safe and sound, but and I felt so stupid. And the timpani player had been in there. He was warming up, and he saw me falling, but he couldn't get to me because he was behind the timpani. And I fell, and I'm like, and my legs were just throbbing. I'm surprised I didn't break anything. So I hobble out to the door. I try to pick everything up, and I go get everybody back, and everybody comes back. So I had no time. I had to sit down and play the entr'acte to the second act. and I had a solo. And I'm sitting there and I'm like stunned, like, and my legs are throbbing. I didn't hurt my arms, so I'm playing along, and the conductor was a notorious jerk. He was a jerk. He didn't know I had fallen, or maybe he did. No, he had to have known I fell. He had to have known. But I missed my solo.
Oh.
I just missed it. It was just a little doodle-doodle, you know. It wasn't like some big, long solo. It was just a little thing where, you know, where he cued me, and I missed it. And his head whipped around, and he looked at me, and I went... Literally, I was like, what do you want? I just fell 4 feet in your unsafe pit. You can handle that I missed a solo in an entr'acte that nobody's listening to anyway because they're talking. Nobody listens to overtures and entr'actes. So then, the man that I would be my future husband, I go, second intermission, I go down, there's a phone under there, and I called him on the phone because that's how old I am. I called him, and I'm like, I fell off the platform in the pit, and he goes, that was dumb. And I still married that man. I'm like, are you kidding me? No, but so that was my big pit story. I didn't fall from the stage, at least. But I have a boo-boo, and it hurts so bad. Why are the little boo-boos that hurt so bad? I had like a hangnail because my hands are very dry, and my skin starts to split. And it was kind of splitting. No, I can't even. It stings.
I'm just kidding.
So I stupidly went and pulled that little hard little...
I get those all the time, yeah.
And it's a scab now, and I pushing on it. It hurts so bad. Anyway, I had a Band-Aid with Neosporin because I'm trying to make it softer, but I had to take it off because I can't knit with a Band-Aid. Yeah. But anyway,
Beth stabbed herself.
Yeah. Cross-stitch needles are relatively blunt,
but they're not completely blunt.
Yeah, compared to like whenever I am doing FFOing or whatever, and I'm sewing something on
with a real sewing needle.
Yeah, I poke myself all. I'm like,
try lifting up something with a bunch of pins to start sewing it.
That too.
And you're getting, I'm like, ow.
Yeah. I always like, hook pointing pins and needles in my skin and whatever, and I'm like, I'm not used to this. Cross-stitch needles are blunt, but they're really not blunt. Yeah. Because typically, like, I'll be doing something like this. Like, I'll pull a thread out and I'll go to turn it around or whatever, and this is my stroke hand, whatever. That I don't know if it's because of that or whatever, but a lot of times when I turn the needle around or whatever, I'll poke it into my this finger. But that's kind of a problem, but it's not too bad. But for some reason, I don't even know what I was doing today. Just a little while ago, I went to do something with the needle, and I somehow just stabbed it into my thumb. I was like, and I looked and there was like a tiny little, I was like trying to see if it was going to bleed because I didn't want to bleed on my fabric,
Yeah, so I use these little, I learned to English paper piecing, another, shiny object. But and actually that's a cool project. One of these days I'm going to pull it out.
I learned a little bit about that because Friday After Grid, Caroline McNeil she talks about quilting and knitting and stuff like that, and she talked about English paper
so
piecing.
there's this, so it's really cool, and I learned it from Missouri Star Quilt Company. She had a whole thing on it, and with Sue Daly, and I bought all the stuff, and I really like it, and I want to do it. But what I did was I had this old quilt that I think my grandmother made. It was just squares, and I destroyed it as a young person because I didn't care. You know what I mean? It was like, and to me, I'm like, if I make a quilt for you, I want you to use it until it's threadbare, because that's what it's for. I don't want you to save it or, I want you to use it. Take it, use it every day, wash it every day, do whatever you need.
I use the one you made me. Like,
that's what I want.
My cats sleep on it.
So I don't care, but anyway, but I wish I had been more careful with that quilt. But it had like a just a cotton background, and it was so old that the cotton is very thin. But what I did was, when I found it, I cut it apart. I cut apart the squares and I saved them. And so then I made little cutouts for this English paper piecing of the little motifs. Like there's one that has like a Chinese landscape with the buildings, little pagodas and stuff. Mm-hmm. And there's one that's Boy Scout fabric, which I've never seen ever anywhere. And so and there's just different little fabrics like that. So I chose the ones that were intact, and I started to cut. I have little templates. I started cutting. Anyway, long story short, part of the thing you buy, Sue Daly uses these little milliner needles, and I swear they're like smaller than IV lint needles, like, and they're so sharp. And so many times I'm just like stab, bleed, stab, bleed. I'm like, okay, these needles, and they're like, they have nice eyes. The eyes are so small, I can barely thread it, even with a threader. They're very frustrating little needles. So I'm probably not going to use them anymore, but they're nice, and they're long and golden and pretty. But ooh, okay, if you think these would be blunter, I had a bag that real nice. It's a Vera Bradley bag from when Vera Bradley bags were in fashion. But my boss, for my birthday one year, bought me this beautiful Vera Bradley quilted bag. It's really nice. It's not the paisley. It's like dark blue. It's really nice, and I use it as a knitting bag. It's got 3 pockets inside. It's got a magnet closure. It's so, but it's quilted. One day I had some double-pointed metal double-pointed needles in there, and they were sock size, so they were skinny. And I didn't know that one of them had traveled through the quilting at where the two seams crossed like this in the quilting, right there. So that's a weak spot, right? Mm-hmm. One of them had gotten, because it got wedged sideways or something in my bag, and it was right there, and I backed up against a wall, and that thing went through the bag, through my shirt, and poked me in my back. I was like, I'm like, TSA doesn't consider these weapons, but you could tell. I didn't say that.
People have defended themselves with knitting needles. you hear about somebody stabbing an intruder with some knitting needles.
Did you talk about your scratching your nose?
Oh yeah, another bassoon.
Bassoons.
Okay.
So bassoons are dangerous weapons.
I guess so.
Don't
okay,
throw up.
but here's the dog's throwing up. Okay, so here's the sad thing that happened to me this week. Beth and I, so last year, before the pandemic, I was part of the Mesa Community College Community Orchestra, and it was a lot of fun. And I played, there was another bassoonist in there, and we sort of alternated first and second, and it was real nice. And then the pandemic came and shut everything down. And then last year, they didn't do anything. But they did some stuff, but I'm like, if we can't do it in person, I don't really want to do it. So, but they're opening it up this year. Whether that's wise or not is a whole nother podcast. But they're opening it up. And so I asked Beth if she wanted to take her horn out and we could get back in shape and we could do it together. And my director was real happy about that. And so we got to get back in shape. And so last year when I was really, and by the time the pandemic came, I was on a roll. I had been practicing and doing real well. And I bought a reed. You don't care about it, but I'll just tell you. It's a plastic reed that has been made by a company called Leger, and they've taken the clarinets and saxophones and stuff, especially giggers who play a lot, use them because they last forever. And we're plastic
Apparently
reed.
not.
Well, with special care, they last forever. And we've used plastic reeds in the past. That's a whole other thing. But our supplier of our plastic reeds is no longer making them, so we have to find some alternative universe to enter. So I decided last year to buy one of these Leger reeds, and I loved it. I love it. I still love it. And so, and I'm going to tell you this only because of what I'm going to say next. It makes it more tragic. They cost about $100 a piece, a little over 100, because you buy one and it lasts a long time. So bassoons, they're big, and you hold them with a strap you sit on here, and it's hooked under here. It's big and heavy, and it has a bocal that comes out like this. And it's just so it's hooked here on the seat, but it's balanced. You're holding it still in your hand, and it can wobble back and forth, and so it's not just sitting there, and it's not little like a clarinet or an oboe, and I don't even know how it happened. I went. So she was at my house and we were practicing and we were doing great, and it sounded horrible.
That's a whole nother.
That's a whole nother podcast. But anyway, so I wanted to get a drink of water because I was so overwhelmed, and I don't know. I had my water and it somehow shifted or slipped, or I felt like it was going to fall, or something.
Your instrument.
My instrument.
Yeah.
So I had a water in this hand and the bassoon in this hand, and I think it was leaning in my arm, and I was messing with the water bottle, and it shifted, and I got scared. So I did this, I think is what happened. And it turned back, and I had the reed on it. Okay, I'm going to stop this. Pause. When I was in college, my bassoon professor, I got up with my horn in my hand with the reed still on the vocal, and he says, take the reed off before you walk around. And he goes, you can always replace the bassoon. So bassoons are like, $30,000
Well, because when you find one you like.
But when the reed works, you got to protect it with your life. You can always replace the bassoon, he said. And I thought that was funny. So with that in mind, that's how you feel about your reeds, right? So it shifted. I reacted, and the thing turned back, and the reed on the end of the vocal hit me. And I felt it catch on my glasses. I didn't feel it. I thought what I felt on my nose was at my glasses. Sometimes you hit your glasses and your nose hurts. And I was like, oh no! And I looked. Oh, I dropped my water bottle and spilled water all over my living room carpet. But I looked at the reed, and it had a crack this long in this $100 reed that was basically new from the spring. I was like, no. And so I text my husband, I'm like, I just broke this $100 reed, I'm sorry. And my son comes in, he's like, what happened? And I'm like, I told him, and he goes, you're bleeding. And I think it's gone. I think it came off today in the shower, but
let me see.
I have a...
You can see a little red mark.
I have I had a big old scab.
And you still kind of have a bruise around your eye.
So that was my bassoon tragedy. So you suffer for your art.
Leave a comment.
Have you ever
what have you? How have you hurt yourself for your craft?
I saw a story that somebody had posted on Facebook in the stitching group about this lady who was talking about how she had lost her needle. She couldn't find her needle anywhere. She looked and looked and looked, couldn't find her needle. Later on, she was in the shower. She said the needle was stuck in her lady parts.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
She didn't feel it. She didn't feel it.
Oh, my God.
And then, yeah. So I'm always thinking about that story because, I stitch in bed, and I'll be stitching along, and all of a sudden, and the needle is like right there. I know, it's right there.
Needles. I'm scared of needles. My cousin told me a story when my cousin... I guess it was the year I lived in Albuquerque after I got married. Judy. Her boss stepped on a sewing needle in their living room, like it was stuck in the carpet, and he stepped on it. And because it didn't have a head, it went all the way into his foot, and he had to have basically they dissected his foot open to get it.
Well, that's what would have happened to me.
I know.
When I was living in Florida, I'm dating myself here. My apartment had shag carpet, and the shag carpet is hard to see anything in it.
Yeah,
and I didn't have like a big dining room table. It was a 1-bedroom small apartment, and so I was sitting on the floor in my living room, putting flowers on a straw hat because I did a lot of craft shows out in the sun, and I needed a better hat. And why not put flowers on them, And so.
And you were 80 at that time? 80 years old?
So
flowers on your hat?
I'm going to be 80 next week.
Okay.
No, I'm not. But anyway, so I was using floral wire to put the flowers on the hat, and I snipped a piece of wire about not quite 2 inches long, maybe 2 inches long. And I dropped it. And I looked, because I was sitting with my legs crossed. I looked and I couldn't see it, so I moved my right leg back. Or was it my left leg? It's my left leg.
Doesn't matter.
I moved it. I moved it back, and I heard a popping sound. And what had happened is that the wire stuck in the carpet at an angle like that, and when I moved my leg back, my ankle got
Disgusting.
and it was in my ankle in the very back of my foot. So here's the back of your foot, and it was not in the heel. No, it was up here.
And the tendon, like the
Yeah,
Achilles.
and I tried, and there was just a little piece sticking out. I didn't know how long the wire was.
Oh, God.
Just a little piece, like maybe a quarter of an inch sticking out with a slight curve to it. And I tried to pull it out, and I went, and so I said, well, I think I need to go to the ER. So I tried to get up. Bad idea. So I had to crawl to the phone. But in order to get to my phone, I had to stand up. And by the time I got there to call my best friend to come and take me, she could barely understand what I was saying. All she understood was wire and hospital. and then, I was living on a shoestring. I was not able to make ends meet when I was living there. And so I looked down, and I am wearing my work pants, which were, dating again, polyester. And they were very specific about what you could wear at work. And I was like, if I can't stand up and I have to crawl out to the parking lot in these pants, I will never be able to wear these pants again. So I crawled to my bedroom and changed my pants into jeans. And I went, when she came and found, came to the door, no cell phones. She came to the door, I crawled out to the car. And then I had to pull myself up into she had this huge van, even higher than normal vans. And she drove me to the hospital. And we got there, she went inside and said, my friend needs a wheelchair to come in. And so they sent some lackey and I say lackey because he could not have been a nurse.
It's an orderly,
And
a bedpan guy.
somebody who takes wheelchairs out to the car, And he comes out and positions a wheelchair, and I used gravity to help me get in it, and I was in so much pain. And he looked at it and he said, "Oh, that's not that bad." And he reached to try to pull it out, and I'm screamed. I'm like, "You idiot! Don't you think I tried that before?"
Oh my God.
I was like, "What are you doing?" He said, "One of the doctors there." And they what hurt almost as bad was, in order to do anything with it, they had to stick needles
Injection, yeah.
for pain relievers back there, and oh my God, that hurt so bad. But the x-rays and everything they took, they're like, we can't tell if it's in the bone. If it's in the bone, you're going to need surgery to get it out. It was like touching the bone, apparently.
Yeeks.
And they said, we should try to take it out if you're willing. That's why they need to give me the pain relievers. If you're willing to just try to take it out, it's going to hurt. We'll give you this pain relievers, And I was like, just try to take it out, because if I don't need surgery, I don't want surgery. Fortunately, they were able to just pull it out. But, and then all of the doctors that looked at it said, "How did you get the wire there?" And I'm like, trust me, it was easy.
Oh my gosh. So have you ever sewn your finger?
No.
I've never sewn my finger. But my sewing machine has a little thread guide, next to the needle, where you put it's a little wire thing that sticks out. That thing has smashed my finger. Oh, you're sewing along because it just bang. It's so fast and so hard. But I've never put a needle through my finger.
When you were telling your orchestra pit story, when I got out of graduate school, I had a few years where I was taking auditions and stuff, and my teacher asked me if I would play with the university orchestra, because I was typically not doing anything at the time, and I was taking auditions, and so it was he felt it would be, first of all, they didn't have anybody any bassoon majors. I think they had non-majors, playing whatever. So anyway, I played with the orchestra, and we were doing an opera, and
those operas, man.
like Naomi was saying, the orchestra is in the pit, right? Well, this pit at Popejoy, it was very nice. It was one of the ones that raised and lowered, and and everything else. But they had just gotten new stands for the orchestra to use, and they were very heavy. They had instead of like the typical music stand that most people are familiar with, that have like a 3-footed thing and a pole, and then there's a stand. Well, these were very heavy. They had like an oval shaped base, very heavy, and then the pole, and there was a little tray on the thing for you to put your stuff on, and then a big giant what do you call it, for the music, and then like an attached light, on there. Well, anyway, so it weighed a ton. Each stand weighed a ton. And then in the pit, there were, I guess, metal strips somehow that were like where the floor was put together or something like that. I don't know. But so we were doing this opera, and I think we came back, like we had intermission, and we had come back, and something was somebody, I think, was having a problem with their light or something, and then all of a sudden there were like sparks across the floor, and and people were like going we were trying to play whatever, and somebody, I think the spark stuff started like while we hadn't started playing yet. And so somebody slipped out and to get a technician, but we had to start playing, or I guess the spark things, there was just like one spark, shooting across the floor. And so this technician came in, and we were, playing whatever, and he's crawling around on the floor trying to see, and what it was is apparently, I don't know if it's just one stand or whatever, it was like hitting that one of those metal strips, and causing the sparks.
That's a flaw on the design.
So anyway, like I said, it was we were having an electrical issue somehow there in the pit, and fortunately, I guess they were able to the guy crawling around on the floor was able to fix it, whatever. But the other thing it reminded me of was again when I was playing with the symphony. And now for 25 years I played in Arkansas in the Arkansas Symphony in Little Rock. And when Naomi was talking about what she and I were getting together the other day and trying to rehearse. Warming,
practice.
Trying to practice and everything. I haven't played since 2015. Like I said, I used to be in the Arkansas Symphony, and I was there for 25 years. And first my story. So, we were doing a concert down in Arkadelphia, which is the little town southwest of Little Rock. So here's Little Rock, here's Hot Springs, here's what did I say, Arkadelphia. And so there's a little college in Arkadelphia, and we were playing down there, and they fed us dinner in the school cafeteria, and then we were going to go do this concert. So we're coming out of the cafeteria, and I caught my foot on the uneven sidewalk and went kersplat in front of all my colleagues. It was very embarrassing. But so they were helping me up, and they're like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Yes." I'm just horribly embarrassed, but I could tell my knee was really really sore, but I had and they're like, "Oh, do you want some ice?" And I'm like, I don't know. I didn't have time to put ice, and I had to go change clothes for the concert because the concert was happening right away. So I was in the little locker room area thing, and I went to use the restroom, and then I was gonna change clothes there, and I couldn't cross my I was trying to put change my socks or whatever, and I could tell my knee was messed up. There was something wrong. I was like, "Oh, it hurts." And so, fortunately, they had like little locker room, typical locker room kind of thing. They had like little bench seating, whatever. So I was able to put my leg up on the bench and change my socks that way. And I had to change my clothes, everything else. So I went out there to do this concert, and I think I played the first piece, and then not the second piece, and then the third one, or something like that. So I could tell during the first piece, I was sitting there, and if I moved my foot, if I kind of dragged my foot across the floor, it hurt. If I picked my leg up and move, I could bend move my leg around, whatever. So my knee is messed up. There's something wrong with my knee.
So what was it?
And
was it just sprain?
I tore my meniscus.
I know from the pain. Because when I got to the pizza place, I couldn't get out of the van.
Yeah.
And that wasn't being hurt for my craft. That was being hurt for work. But while I was sitting there, I was fine as long as I didn't try to put my heel onto the ground.
Yeah.
Or stand up.
Yeah. So I'm sitting there, and I think taking some ibuprofen. That's my drug of choice. And but I was I could tell my knee was messed up, and then I had this other piece to play, and then so this was on a Friday night, and in those days I also played in the handbell choir at church. And it was handbell festival in Hot Springs. So the idea I had was that I was going to go and do this concert in Arkadelphia, and then drive up to Hot Springs and meet the handbell choir there in Hot Springs. We had a hotel rooms arranged, and then do the festival. On Friday it started on Friday night and went on Saturday, and then after the handbell festival, I would drive back to Little Rock. So I still had to drive after the concert to drive up from Arkadelphia up to Hot Springs, and by the time I got to Hot Springs, I could barely walk.
Oh no!
And then the lady that was our director for the handbell choir, she and I were rooming together, and so she met me there at the hotel, but the room we were in was upstairs. And I'm like, "Oh my god!" So fortunately, she carried all my instrument and my junk up to the room,
gosh.
and I was hauling myself up the stairs, holding onto the railing, and then the room we were in, I was I was like, okay, well it's all right, and so I had my bed there, and then I would start to relax, and I would trying to find a comfortable position for my leg. I had it propped up on pillows, whatever. So I would start to relax. Eventually, yeah. I would start to relax, and then my knee would it's not in this position. So I had to move my leg and try to find some other comfortable position, and then I would start to like, okay, I'm comfortable. And I'd start to relax, and my knee would like, so I couldn't. And then like at one point in the middle of the night, I had to go to the restroom, and my my knee had like swollen up or whatever.
Yeah.
And so when I went to try to stand up, my knee was killing me. I'm like, for a second there, I couldn't stand up, and I'm like, I am gonna wet my pants trying to get out of this bed. I was like, so finally it kind of stopped, and I was able to hobble to the bathroom.
So
Gosh.
I think the most interesting of Beth's injuries for her craft was when we were in college.
Oh.
And
You told that story
football
before.
injury?
yeah, she told
Yeah,
it.
you
Yeah,
told a story before where she was hit by a
trumpet
running
player.
trumpet player.
yeah,
Yeah.
But we've all we had to pause for a second, and I spoke with my siblings here, and I'm not quite done.
It's so beautiful.
So
Show the photo. That's so cool. We'll show a picture here too. That's so neat.
I'm not gonna have time to finish this while we're talking here because we're gonna have to wrap up pretty soon. But I have decided that I will send it won't have these little perforated things on the end. I'll cut them off. But I will send this drawing properly sprayed to for smearing not to happen to somebody who comments on how they've been injured for their craft.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Now it doesn't have to be cross stitch, doesn't have to be knitting, but anything that is an art. So like music or
yeah.
If you cut yourself with scissors.
I sliced a piece of my finger off with an X-Acto blade, cutting on.
If you've sewn yourself.
If you've sewn yourself, if
stuck a needle in an inappropriate place.
yeah. So and I know that everybody that is watching me has done something while they're trying to do their craft. Because
hot glue! Don't forget hot glue.
don't forget hot glue.
Yes,
yeah. Beth,
I've done that too.
Beth blistered herself with hot glue. So I'm just. We can't be the only ones.
Yeah, please tell us we're not the only ones.
Yeah.
So leave your story, and Eve will award the prize to the best one.
We might just do a generator.
Or maybe we'll do a.
But yeah, I
randomizer.
might pin the best one.
Look, great job.
So because.
Finished.
So. Just
So if you'll
let us know.
Yeah.
Make a comment about any
craft
injury you
do,
suffered,
yeah.
and we'll do a random comment.
We're interested in
generator or
injuries today.
whatever. Yeah, we'll do a random drawing of everybody who enters. The comments.
Anybody who just makes a comment about how they've hurt themselves.
Yeah, and then we'll do a random drawing.
Yeah, it has to be how you hurt yourself.
Yeah,
not oh, that's a cute picture. No, you need
So
you finished?
I finished Rabbit January.
Yay!
Look at those bunnies, are so cute.
They're so cute.
I've been on a bunny kick
You're on a bunny.
this
Bunny
spring.
kick. That's the thing. Bunny kick.
Bunny kick. I know my cats love bunny kicks.
Oh, does this count? I got a scratch from I don't know who. Hobbs,
One of your
Calvin,
cats.
somebody. Does that
No.
count as a craft injury?
No.
Oh.
No, because at any given moment I have a cat scratch somewhere in my body.
They're so cute. They're so cute. Hobbs comes up to me, stands, and he goes.
And Hotspur does that. Hotspur will touch my knee, Puck.
Oh.
Puck will he'll touch my knee, and he'll put his arms up like this. And he wants me to hold. I said, Hotspur is one of my previous kitties. Hotspur and Cyrano. Somebody had asked me who was Hotspur. I have Hotspur and Cyrano. I have their little tags for when they were kittens. Has my address, my original address and phone number when I lived in Little Rock. But I had saved their tags when they passed away. And I had them on my keychain for the longest time.
Yeah.
And so I made them into needle minders.
That's neat.
So this is Hotspurs, and Cyrano's is on one of my other projects somewhere. But yeah.
Well, thank you for joining
Yes.
us. We've had fun talking about all our crazy ideas and
And stay tuned. Keep
Yes.
subscribe. Pay
Put on
attention.
your notifications. 'Cause
Yeah.
we've decided on a project. We got to go ahead on it, and we're very excited to announce week after next. Be on the lookout.
Yeah, my birthday's next week. So.
Yeah, her birthday's next. So next time that we're recording, it will be Eve's birthday, and
14,
so you'll see it. Yeah, you'll see it the day after. But so we have one more day, and I will also be ignoring Eve's birthday and knitting on the mystery knit along because we get our clue that day. So exciting! So that will be next week. So make sure you tune in. And then just after that, we're going to make a special announcement, and we'll probably have a special episode coming up. So that's exciting. And
I just want to talk very briefly
quick.
about this. Yeah, this is Yarn Bee Velvety Smooth Sparkle in the colorway Olive, and this is the color I'm going to
Oliver
use.
Green?
I'm going to use on the trim for the Blessed thing that I talked about last week. I was looking for the right color of green, and I think that is the right color.
Yeah,
and it has
really
has a little sparkle in it.
Yeah,
So,
that's pretty.
So yeah, I'm gonna use that as the trim. We went to Hobby Lobby and I got a bunch of junk there. So
I got the buttons.
Things,
I got the buttons.
craft things.
So
Yeah.
that's why I said I'm going to Hobby Lobby, and I had to take them because they didn't have a car. So we went and I found my
I'll
buttons.
have a car
and
this afternoon.
They found stuff. Yeah. That's one of the reasons we got to go. We got to go get her car.
Yeah.
Back from the doctor.
Go pay the ransom and get the car.
Thanks
back.
for joining us, and we look forward to seeing you next
So
week.
let us know about your injuries.
Yeah.
I'll take a picture of this so you can see.
Yeah,
it.
we'll post it.
Yeah.
Thanks so much.
I
Bye.
just hit my thumb on it.
That doesn't count. You can't enter your own contest.
I put that back.
Bye. I know.